One of the biggest struggles I find early entrepreneurs go through is trying to find and then clarify their niche, their brand. Who are you? Who exactly are you going to serve? How exactly are you going to serve? What is going to be your niche on social media? Most people, they look at themselves and they think, wow, I have more than one interest, more than one passion. My creative inspiration is fluid, dynamic, feminine. Doesn't feel like it wants to go into a little box for the rest of its life. And yet you have all these experts saying, you got to find your niche. You got to niche down. There's too much competition. How are you going to stand out if you don't have a niche? I don't know what my niche is. I don't know if I even want to find it. I know I need to, and I'm going to try, and then I fail, and then it's frustrating. And then you don't want to really invest energy into your business if you don't even know what it is yet. I'm a coach. I coach entrepreneurs, and I've been doing this for many years. I've worked with thousands of younger entrepreneurs, and this is literally the number one struggle they have. It's the number one struggle I had too. This is not easy for me. It was a very stressful process trying to find my niche, but eventually I did. And I'm going to share with you what worked for me. But I have to warn you, you might not like my answer. You might not like the method I recommend. Because it's hard. It's very hard to find your niche. Because to find your niche truly is to find yourself. Sure, you could pick a niche. You could look up online and pick a profitable niche that you may have some interest in, some background in, that you could, in theory, do successfully. But here's the problem. To get a business off the ground and to maintain it, to have continued, sustained success, there's one thing that's required, and that's consistency. You must be consistent. You can't cease. You can't let up. You must keep adding energy into it. And if this chosen niche is not in alignment with who you truly are, it's destined to break down. You will eventually become bored, jaded, burnt out, unfulfilled. So it's not about just finding a niche. It's really about finding yourself, finding truly what God put you on this planet to do. Because when you find that, you find your passion. You find an unlimited amount of creative energy that you will joyfully sustain your business because it's just what you want to do. It's like a perfect outlet for your creative energy. And once you find that, adding energy, investing yourself into it, it's no longer a career, no longer a business, no longer a job. It's just something that feels amazing to do. And that's why it's so hard to find your niche and succeed. Because what that really requires is to find yourself. But here's another big block many entrepreneurs have. They don't think they're good enough. I kind of know who I am, but I'm afraid who I am isn't enough of a niche, isn't enough to sustain my business, isn't cool enough, isn't experienced enough, isn't wise enough, isn't old enough, or is too old. We have all these sort of negative definitions of ourselves, and therefore we are blind sometimes to the obvious. What is your niche? You are your brand. You are your niche. Your pure creative energy expressed as best you can is your niche. Period. But that's also hard to find. We have to first accept ourselves. Then we have to love ourselves. Then we have to decide we're worthy enough to be worthy enough of a niche. And how do we do that? It's not a light you flick on. No, it involves shadow work. It involves facing yourself, facing your demons, facing your traumas, facing your darkness over and over and over and over and over again. And then slowly but surely we peel back these layers and discover new aspects of ourselves and get more and more and more and more clear of who we are. And if we don't do that, if we don't participate willingly, consistently over time with this self-discovery, healing, transformational process, we're never going to really find our niche. You can find a niche, but not your niche. There's another problem with finding a niche. It's not static. Oh, how nice. Oh, how wonderful would it be for the mind to finally learn that my niche is to help aspiring entrepreneurs raise their vibration and make more money by helping people. I can just relax. I don't have to think about this stupid niche thing ever again. But we change, we grow. Some of you young cats might not think so. You're like your 20s. Trust me, I'm 38. I've changed my identity in a way, not even willingly. It just so happened that I happened to change multiple times over and over. For the longest time, I was a personal trainer, and that was who I was. That was my niche. And then I was a personal trainer who liked to grow weed in their basement. That was also a passion. That was part of my niche. Then I became a straight up, the epitome of a YouTuber that did digital marketing and online courses. And then I started coaching and running retreats, doing business coaching. Now I do a whole bunch of other things as well. And now I'm pursuing being a writer. So where's your niche in all that? There's a common denominator why all those things I said were somewhat successful, because they were my genuine, authentic passions at the time. And I was able to gain clarity on my niche and be able to explain it to people, which can be difficult as well. You might have some kind of vague idea of what your niche is, but can you articulate it in a compelling way, in a clear way that people hear it within like 10 seconds? They understand exactly what you mean and are intrigued. It's difficult. It's difficult if you don't do this. If you aren't in the habit, if you don't have it within your lifestyle to share and express your creative inspirations, the more you get an inspiration and actually do something with it, write it down, share it on a video, write a blog, whatever, put it out there and as best you can, then you get this experience with working with your niche, working with yourself. And then after a long time of doing that, then you can kind of explain it and have a neat little tagline or a sexy mission statement. But that only comes from experience of sharing over and over and over and over your creative inspirations. But the problem is most people have been taught, I got to find a niche before I do that. I got to find myself before I do that. Life is about finding yourself. There's always more to find, I found. We're always changing. So here I'm going to these are just different ideas to share with you. Certain ones might resonate with you depending on exactly what you're working with within this journey of finding yourself, finding your niche. I'm going to try to boil it down before I go into kind of a simplistic philosophy, if you will. Number one, the fastest way to gain clarity about your niche is to share your creative inspirations out there. And if you're watching this video, you're probably wanting to be online. It's good to write your ideas down. It's better to share them, knowing that the more you share them, the more clarity you'll get, because you'll get feedback from other people. You'll be able to discern the degree of resonance in the various topics you're exploring. For example, when I started trying to find my niche, like a lot of you, I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't decide, right? So I had a bunch of YouTube channels, separate websites, domains, blogs. I had separate little businesses for all my interests. And I had this one YouTube channel called Grow Stronger 420. It still exists right now. It has only 4 videos on it and has over 10,000 followers. It was working. It was succeeding. But it wasn't really my passion. So you don't only want to be looking out there for others to tell you who you are. You got to also ask yourself, how does this feel? So as you're sharing, as best you can, you're looking for feedback. Yes. Is this resonating with people? Am I getting feedback, comments on my blog, on my Instagram reel? Am I getting followers? Is it clicking? Is it helping? And do I like it? Does it light me up with passion? Another situation, another kind of different situation. One of my other YouTube channels was called Sustainable Six Pack. It was about intermittent fasting and low volume strength training. It's like being able to stay really ripped and lean without really having to be on a diet. It's kind of the whole philosophy. And I knew a lot about that. I was pretty passionate and educated about that too. I was a trainer my whole life. I know what I'm talking about when it comes to that stuff. I mean, I am an expert, but it wasn't working. I had like 70 videos and very few subscribers in relation to how many videos there are. And it wasn't what the world was wanting from me. You want to find something that kind of marries the two. This other off-the-wall channel I had was just my Victor Odo channel. It was the channel I made because I knew, even though I had 4 or 5 other YouTube channels, I had other random interests, and I couldn't figure out what to. I don't want to have a separate channel for each one, so I lumped them in to this Victor Odo channel that I just made for myself, just to share whatever the hell I wanted to share. And ironically, that one is the one that you see today with over 300,000 followers, because on that video I started talking about, just kind of randomly, because of my inspiration, about my spiritual awakening, and I found that as I was sharing about that, it was like a force. It was like a part of myself I didn't even know was there, was coming through very strongly. I felt very, very tapped in to like my potential when I was sharing. I felt more articulate. I felt like I was being guided from within, and it felt good. I was in my flow, basically. And it got a great response. People were saying, holy cow, I can't believe you're saying this. Thank God, this helped me so much. So it was the marriage of a passion energy and feedback. That was my niche for a while anyway. Now I have kind of a new one. But for like several years, that was, and kind of still is, my niche. The marriage of my own God-given, genuine passion, background, experience, creative inspiration, and put forth in a direction that is also helpful and contributing to the collective. But in going through that process, which took me a bit of a time, it was so hard. It was so stressful and frustrating, because throughout that journey, there were so many times I thought I found my niche finally. And then like life would show me reflections that would just kind of make it clear that no, this is not your niche, dude. And then it's like, man, I wasted all that time. I got my hopes up. I finally thought the freaking endless search was over. But no, this is not it. And I don't even know where to begin. I feel lost. Back to the drawing board again. And it was so like discouraging. Also, like with the fitness channel as an example, I put my heart and soul into that. I put so much work. 70 YouTube videos, man. Think about that. It's a lot of videos that I thought about, planned, played with. I sucked at editing at the time, so it took me forever to edit my videos. Thumbnails were new. I put a lot of hours, blood, sweat, and tears, and it was my passion. And it was so hard when it didn't work. I wanted to give up. I wanted to quit forever. But because I never gave up, because I stuck with it, because I looked at myself when those feelings would come up, I sat with them. I didn't escape. I did sometimes escape, actually. I would like go into my habits. I was not perfect by any means, but there would come times often enough where I would look at myself. Not perfectly, but there would be enough times where I would look at myself, face my shadow, ask myself, what's the message? What's the message here? What am I learning from this failure? I had to ask over and over and over and over and over and over again as I looked at my shadow, which was not fun. And I just kept pumping out, kept trying as hard as I could just to express my ideas, as I suggest to you all. And then from that, Victor found his niche. That's the reality of it. But I tell you, kind of going back to conclude this whole video, the fastest way to find your niche is to accept yourself and express yourself as honestly and authentically as you're able to. And you do that over and over and over, and clarity of niche is a natural byproduct. And once you have that, by the time you have that nailed, you're probably already making money. You probably already got different services and different offers out there, different revenue streams. So when you find yourself, when you find your niche, then I would say the entrepreneurial journey becomes very inspired. You're not so lost in the dark cave where you feel like there's an intuition backing your decisions. And you're kind of like finally in cahoots with the source in a way. But it doesn't seem to hand that connection and guidance out so freely. Only to those who are willing to go through all of what I shared to earn that, to cultivate that relationship. So I wish you well, my friends, with finding your niche. Good luck. No, just do what I said. I promise you it'll help you. I promise you if you just accept the nature of the process and can get going on it, you will get there. You will get there. And here's the thing that I wish I would have known, that I'm going to tell you and leave you with this. You know, when I was making those fitness videos, as an example, they didn't go anywhere, right? As I was like filming my grow room in my basement for weed, and like making these cool little videos and stuff, it was fun. I had fun the whole time. There was fun to be had the whole time. The only reason I was so stressed is because I was seeking the victory, seeking the end. I wanted to find my niche. I wanted to succeed. What is it going to take? Which one is it that will succeed? What is my niche that's going to be successful? I didn't let myself be happy until that point. But I can look back and realize like all of my little experiments, even the ones that failed miserably, were fun. It was fun in the moment to create from my inspiration. If I wasn't so insistent on this end result, I could have been having a grand old time. I probably would have found my niche a hell of a lot faster because I wouldn't have been taking things so seriously. I wouldn't have been controlling things so much. So my parting advice to you is to have fun. Don't be in a rush. You know, I read this book. It's not there. I look over there as if it's there. It's not there. It's on my other bookshelf. It's called Mastery by Robert Greene. And he talks about, and the book, by the way, is about well-known people like Charles Darwin, Van Gogh, who else? Thomas Jefferson, maybe. There's like big, reputable, like badass freaking people from history that have done big things. And he looks back, he kind of researches their journey and shows where they came from. You know, Thomas Edison, I believe, is one as well. And he sees where they came from. They came from where you and me came from. They came from nothing. They came from just this faint idea, this faint inspiration. And they had a long, what he calls, Robert Greene calls, apprenticeship phase. They had to endure, had to go through in order to become these masters. And the point is to kind of not just try to rush to the top. Don't. It's a slower way to go about it. And if you can just understand and kind of accept this apprenticeship phase, you're likely in if you're still watching this video, then I believe there you can enjoy it. In fact, you can. I'll tell you why, and then I'm going to leave for real. I've been starting a new journey, climbing a new mountain as of like the last 6 months, seriously, and that's writing a book. And in the beginning, I was like you. What am I going to write about? What's my title? What's my niche? How am I going to stand? All this bullshit was going through my head, and I was miserable. It was only recently that I have really committed to my writing career. I'm reading like books like 2-3 hours a night to like fill my head with good ideas, and I'm writing every morning. I still have to write today, actually. My typewriter's staring at me. I can't forget. But anyway, just last night I was laying in bed talking to my wife, feeling so blessed because I finally don't care. I honestly don't care if my books become popular. I'm writing a book right now. I'm not sure the title. It might be called The Spiral Journey. It's going to be about like navigating aspects of the awakening process, leading you to find your purpose, and going through that kind of rite of passage. Anyway, I don't care or even expect this to be like an amazing book because it's my first book. And but what I'm so excited about is just the pursuit. I'm really enjoying studying these like impressive authors like Jack Kerouac and people like that. And I'm reading like beat poets right now. I'm enjoying the process. I'm enjoying the process of writing. I'm having fun. Finally not taking myself so seriously. Finally not expecting perfection from the get-go, which is ludicrous. And yet I have done that my whole life. And I was miserable. Now I'm going through similar things as you are if you're watching this right now. And I can tell you honestly, I'm enjoying it. I'm really not that stressed. There are some days I wake up and it flows and it's easy. I write easily. And there are other days I wake up and it sucks. It's just not good. But I don't care anymore because I appreciate the blessing of having a passion, having a purpose, being able to just pour my heart into this little piece of crap plastic freaking typewriter here that you can't even buy except if you get them used on Amazon. What a gift. Whoa, Victor, who are you to write a book? All this imposter bullshit that used to plague my mind, gone. Because I'm just enjoying it, man. And you can too. And the more you enjoy it, the more you do it. The more you do it, the faster you find your niche anyway. And then once you find it, don't settle. It's going to change anyway. You're going to have to start all over again. At least I have multiple times in many different aspects of my life. So I'll leave you all with that, my friends. Hopefully something I said stuck with you. Leave a comment below. Let me know if you enjoyed this video, if you got something out of it, and maybe I'll make some more. Much love. Peace.